This video is a bit different than the videos I've been making recently, where I've been making more scripted, structured content. I wanted to kind of dive from inside my head and just kind of talk a bit about Fallout fans. So viewer discretion is advised for the people who like more structured content. This is definitely not that. What's up, guys? I'm Mantis, as you probably know, because you're on my channel watching a video, and if you didn't, I'm TKs-Mantis. I have been making Fallout documentaries for, I'd say, like structured documentaries for about a year now, but I've been a fan of the game since the late 90s when Fallout 2 came out. I was introduced to the series with Fallout 2. I watched it. My friend's older brother would play it, and I would watch him and his friend play it, and it was very entertaining to me. I'd never seen a game like that. Long story short, I became a huge fan of Fallout, got the games for myself, and just developed a passion for those games. So I, like probably some of you, have been a fan since those games, but since a lot of you seem to come in around Fallout 3, and even some of you with Fallout 4, there's nothing wrong with that. Those games were more mainstream, and they hit the market much harder than, well, I mean, the first two did very well. The first two Fallout games did incredibly well, both critically and commercially. Especially for their time, but Fallout 3 kind of knocks that out of the water when you start to look at the sales for all the Fallout games, and that's no secret, nor is it no surprise with the way gaming was when Fallout 3 came out. You had consoles in every home, you had PCs in every home for the most part, and everybody was ready to get down and play some Fallout, and it was a welcome, like, oh, welcome back, Fallout! What an amazing thing to have come back. So this isn't about if you joined when the classic Fallouts were released, or if you came in when Bethesda got the franchise. This is just kind of like an observation of what I've noticed as a content creator in the Fallout community over this past year, and how Fallout fans are. So what I want to address isn't necessarily toxicity or positivity. It's a mixture of both. Much like any fandom has, any fan community has, you're going to have a mixture of both toxicity, positivity, people just there to check out the games and hang out, and people with incredible opinions on all sides of every spectrum that you can think of, and that's normal. So I'm not here to bash my opinion over anybody's head about what I feel about this way. Oh, someone doesn't like this game, so their opinion doesn't matter. It's not anything like that with this video, so I want to get that out of the way. I'm just, like I said, coming from a content creator perspective, I want to shed some light on just some stuff that I've noticed in the Fallout community, and some stuff I want to address, because it's just some interesting talking points, and we can even talk about them in the comments as well, because that's really what I like to do the most when it comes to the content that I make. One of the first things I want to address is a common misconception I see among a lot of people that comment on my videos and other things as well, and it's when somebody says something along the lines of, oh, I want a Fallout game in Seattle, or I want a Fallout game in Texas is another popular one. People say, well, I want Bethesda to just sell the IP to Obsidian, and then, you know, Fallout will be saved and we'll only have good Fallout games. There's something that I want to address with that, is these people I imagine, would be assuming that Obsidian is still the same company that it was when New Vegas was released, and that simply isn't true. A lot of the ex-Black Isle employees no longer work there. One of the only ones that does work there is the CEO now at the time of this recording, which is Fergus Urquhart. He's been there pretty much the entire time. He's one of the founders, but also he's the active CEO currently. Other than that, there's really not the same team going on there. Now you may say, well, the Outer Worlds was from the original creators of Fallout. You know, yes, there is still people that worked on those things, but at the same time, it's not the same Obsidian, and a lot of people actually don't value Outer Worlds that highly, especially when comparing it to New Vegas. Now, I enjoyed the Outer Worlds quite a bit, but a lot of people don't seem to think it's Obsidian's best work, and so I just don't. I understand why people would comment these things and say these things, but it's just a common misconception that I see, that Obsidian's not the same company that it was. And no, it isn't. It wouldn't just be a magic, oh my god, now every Fallout game is good now that Obsidian owns the license. I understand that that's something that a lot of people like to dramatize, but it's simply not true. Bethesda, if anything, has done a competent job of keeping Fallout in the mainstream, and arguably that's one of the best things for a gaming franchise. So regardless if what they're putting out is something that you personally enjoy, it's simply ridiculous to act like somebody other than Bethesda is going to like somehow make this, oh, it's suddenly better. They're making the choices they want to make based on the reasons that they have them for, whether it be financial or otherwise. If it's top directors saying other things, it doesn't matter what the reasoning is. Decisions like the things that we see with 76 and other things that upset people on the lead up to that, other companies have done similar things, and Obsidian isn't just going to start, magically make a great Fallout game. I'm not saying they're incapable of doing it. I'm just saying, like, it's not the same company as Fallout New Vegas. Another misconception that I personally get in the comments, but I feel like a lot of people, I've seen it in other places, is that Interplay, it's along the same lines of, Interplay would be doing this better. All this other, if this never changed, Black Isle would be doing this better. Van Buren would be better than this, and Interplay was actually leading Fallout down a tremendously bad path as well, with things like Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. I refuse to say that Tactics is a bad game, because I don't think Tactics is a bad game. I think it's quite underrated, actually, but it's a giant departure from what we saw and wanted from a Fallout game. Now, they had plans to make Van Buren. Again, I think the scope of Van Buren is a bit wide and would have been met with a lot of limitations with what they were working with, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have pulled off an incredibly immersive, awesome experience. And the story of Van Buren was, if you look at all the documents, was stellar, at least in my opinion. But we still saw future ties for Fallout Brotherhood of Steel 2 and Fallout Tactics 2, and I just think that Interplay leading it down that path wouldn't have been a wise idea. So I also feel like Interplay wasn't using the IP wisely. So that's another misconception that people, because I like New Vegas, because New Vegas is my favorite Fallout, a lot of people approach me like, I think Interplay can do no wrong, or I think Obsidian is the best gaming company in the world. And though I really admire Obsidian's work, and they're definitely in my top picks for things like Stick of Truth, Fallout New Vegas, those are the ones that I've played, but a lot of people have talked about the Star Wars games, the Star Wars game that they made. I understand that it's all very good, so they are in my top, but that doesn't mean that they're infallible. It doesn't mean that I think that they're the best company or that they can do no wrong. Just because Bethesda makes some poor decisions, it doesn't make, it doesn't make all of like every video game company besides them, suddenly better at their job. But Bethesda makes very good games, and I think that a lot of people try to side with, oh, if you like New Vegas, you can't like Bethesda, you can't like them at all, you can't whatever. I only dislike when they're it seems like they're scamming people, or you see all this stuff that led up to Fallout 76, what I don't need to go through over and over again. Of everybody remembers all the things that happened leading up to Fallout 76 and after the launch. I get mad at those things. I still enjoy the games that they've produced. I enjoy Elder Scrolls. I played Oblivion and Skyrim, and those are some of my favorite games. But I also enjoyed Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Which I don't think is necessarily like suddenly a sin, because all of a sudden you enjoy factors of like Fallout 4, and you can still dislike a lot of it. I hate the main story of Fallout 4, but I love the gameplay and the mods that I can play with Fallout 4. I, am iffy about the main story of Fallout 3. I thought it was decent when it came out, but the more and more as time went by, I was like, this is kind of weak, especially after New Vegas came out, because I really enjoyed Fallout New Vegas' story. I just felt like Fallout 3 fell short, but that doesn't mean I hate Fallout 3. I've had thousands of hours of fun in Fallout 3. So that's another thing I wanted to address, of like, if you enjoy New Vegas, somehow you can't like Bethesda or something like that. That's silly. And people that are telling you that, I don't understand poking that fire unless you're memeing or trying to troll. It's silly. You can absolutely like these games, and you're not like committing a sin. And it seems like a lot of Fallout fans try to take that side with it. Since we're on the topic of Fallout 76, let's talk about the toxicity that lies in the Fallout community. Over my time on YouTube as a Fallout content creator, I've gotten to know and talk to other Fallout content creators. None of them are toxic. And what's weird to me is these people who are successful on YouTube are not toxic about a game that actually has a lot of toxicity in the comments of their videos, in the fan community that you see. And maybe it's not something that's as surface level as if you're running your own YouTube channel and you see it all the time, but it's something that's very very prevalent, and it's something that I wanted to address since we're on the topic of Fallout 76, because it seems Fallout 76 itself breeds a lot of it. Now, this comes from both sides. This isn't just people who dislike Fallout 76 or people who like Fallout 76. Both of those camps seem to like they just holster a lot of toxicity for anybody who disagrees with their opinion. Now, this is normal inside of, people just shooting the shit on the internet. That's nothing new. This is something that's been around forever. People bickering back and forth on the internet, and the YouTube comments have far been, a not toxic place for years. So this isn't something that should be some kind of revelation to anybody, but it's something that I've noticed as a content creator, because I see these comments all the time when I look through my videos. And one thing that I want to address on one side of the camp is I see a lot of people who have come in to the Fallout fan community at Fallout 76, and they're like, well, I'm a fan of Fallout, so all this stuff that anybody says negative about Fallout 76, they're clearly just Fallout detractors, and they don't really know the series like I do, because I really love Fallout. This is a really warped mind frame, because that's not the case, and it's not really a strong argument, in my opinion, when it comes to what is going on in the big picture. When you look at Fallout 76, if you've come into the fan base at Fallout 76, I don't necessarily look like, I wouldn't call that a fan of Fallout. You're a fan of Fallout because you're playing a Fallout game and you're enjoying Fallout 76, but Fallout as a concept is widely lost in Fallout 76, and a lot of people who have played even Fallout 4 and come into the fan base at Fallout 4 believe this. This isn't some kind of revelation where I'm like, oh my god, I'm a classic Fallout fan, I'm a New Vegas I think New Vegas is superior, so therefore all the other ones are bad, or anything like that. This is just simply, like, a lot of people think that if you look at Fallout 76 and you see a lot of the screenshots people post and things like that, it's a bunch of laser cannons shooting off with American flags everywhere and neon signs everywhere, built up buildings with people running all over the place in stupid little costumes like turkeys and all these other things, two-headed Brahmin, which I also have that costume, by the way. I'm not saying it's not fun to partake in, but if you think that is the concept of Fallout, if you think that's actually what Fallout is, that's why people are so hostile towards that that state of mind, because it's simply the whole concept is lost when it comes to Fallout 76. Now, if you disagree with me, that's fine, but I'm just being real here. When you look at the desolate, even the rebuilding parts of Fallout, a lot of the stuff you see in 76 is really egregious. So I think that's where a lot of people take offense to that. That being said, I don't think being a fan of Fallout 76 disqualifies you from any Fallout conversation. It doesn't mean that you're somehow committing a sin against the series, which I've seen a lot of people talk about. Just enjoy the game, because it's a game, man. If it's fun for you, it's fun for you. If it's not for others, that's fine. This isn't something I should be explaining, and it's a pretty universal concept. If you like something, there you go, brother. That's all that matters. If you don't, that's chill too. On the flip side of the coin, when it comes to people who dislike 76, I really don't see the point in beating it over the head of people who are just enjoying the game. Of course, people who go into conversations looking for arguments are always going to find them. I'm not referring to those people, but I see comments from people saying all the time, like, oh, I like 76, but, it's a secret, or something like, something along those lines, and it's like, that's silly. Like, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I've had fun with it myself. There's parts about it that I really don't enjoy, and there's some fun that I've had with it. So, no big deal. But this is just something that I've noticed in the grand scheme of things when it comes to the interactions between Fallout fans. Especially the Fallout 76 itself, again, has bred so much hostility for literally no reason. If you don't think it's a good Fallout game, if you don't think it's a good game or whatever, it's easily ignored or easily made fun of. And I also really, like, it's been very odd to me to see people take such personal offense to people making memes about a video game. I post a lot of memes on this channel. Sometimes they're derogatory towards 76, and I see a lot of people taking it personally, like they either worked on the game or they are the game themselves. It's a very weird concept where they get personally offended over just a meme about a video game. Like, I'm so tired of seeing these memes about Fallout 76. It's like, well, it's just a meme about a game. You know, I don't get butthurt when I see memes about New Vegas because I didn't work on it. It might be one of my favorite games of all time, but who cares if somebody made a meme about not liking it? Maybe I'll make fun of it or I'll post it because I think it's funny that somebody doesn't like it. It's not a big deal. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe you're taking so much offense to it because you're seeing the reason why people are so upset about it. That's just my own take on that one, though. The positive parts of the Fallout fan community really speak for themselves. It's an incredibly awesome community to be in. It's an incredibly awesome community to make content for. I've always had a passion for these games, and the fans of Fallout most of the time share that passion. They challenge me. It's not a bunch of yes men, no pun intended. They challenge the content creators in their community to, you know, to explain their like lore sources, or, you know, anything. Like if I say something in a video that somebody didn't know before, they want to know more about that, and they actually will start a conversation about that. The community I've built like through my Discord and Twitter and things like that have been amazing as well. One of the most supportive and generous communities I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen a lot of, you know, content creators as well, because I watch YouTube as much as everybody else does. So now that's just my community that I've noticed, that I've, you know, checked out and I've been a part of and I've interacted with. They've been very generous and very awesome and very kind and very welcoming. Other fan communities or other subsets of it might not be the same way. I don't know, but that they all started somewhere as being a Fallout fan because that's how they found my channel, and then there you go. So that's that's one of the most positive things that I've seen, and it's not something that I see in a lot of other fan communities. I don't see the generosity, I don't see the kindness, I don't see that kind of stuff. But again, I'm on the inside of that. I'm the one that really, I see all of that going on because, you know, it's in my Discord server, it's on my Twitter, it's in my YouTube comments, so I see all those things. But again, that's where it doesn't make sense, where there's so much positivity in the community where we can just sit around and talk about video games, that it gets so derailed and so personal so quickly in some of the comments that it's hard to understand. But again, that's YouTube comments for you. They've always been toxic. They've always been a place for people to do a battle in the arena of arguments. So there's no real surprise there. But all this being said, this rant isn't about just, like, you know, I haven't really even been shitting on any fans or anything like that. I just wanted to address some things that I've noticed as a content creator, get them out in a video, kind of vent them out. So you're kind of listening to my vent session here. And so I thank you for listening to it. Overall, I'm incredibly lucky to be in the position that I'm in, and that's not lost on me. I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of the Fallout fan community and to make content for a game that I'm so passionate about. And I make content on other games as well, but I mainly do Fallout stuff, and I feel like I probably always will. Because people often say, like, oh, are you ever going to run out of stuff to talk about with Fallout? Maybe, man. I mean, it'd be dumb to say, no, I'll never run out of things to talk about, because I run out of ideas for videos all the time. And, you know, one comes later or something like that. But I still feel incredibly grateful, just because there's some things to rant about back there. Doesn't mean that I'm not like, oh man, this is it is the best community that I've ever been a part of. But again, that's just from personal experience. But this should wrap up the video. So I just want to say thank you for watching it. Thank you for being a part of any part of the channel that you are, whether you're watching the videos and you hate it and you're like, oh man, fuck you, Mantis, you suck. You know, thank you for that feedback, I suppose. And if you're watching the video and you're just, you know, chilling out, vibing out, and you want to chat in the comments, do so. I'm always open to do that with people who agree with me or don't agree with me. Like I said, this has just been a bit of a vent session, a bit of a rant, and I hadn't really done one of those in a while, and I figured I would record it and post it on here, because that's all I do anyways nowadays, is make videos. So now everything is a video. So there we are. I want to thank my patrons, YouTube channel members, and a special thanks to my biggest supporters: Kim Jong-un, JP Rivera, Not Catchy, Stupendous Skellington, Fireflare, Primark Mustard, Edgy, Bill Scott Sheets, Death6199, Alexander Cobb, Laud Have Mercy, Thomas, Papa Swanson, and Billy Joe Jim Bob. Thank you guys so much for everything. Super grateful for the continued support, and believe me, more structured content coming out, not just about Fallout, but about other open world games as well, and also more documentaries on whatever game I feel like making one about. So hopefully you enjoy and you're along for that ride as well. It has been Mantis.
I gotta testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die, you gon' touch the sky. You gon' touch the sky, baby girl. Testify. Come up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day you die,